everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Wimbies podcast. Hi, I'm your anchor for today, Aminat Adepoju, a lawyer in Babalakin Co. And with me here is Miss Awotoye Nelly.
Thank you.
Miss Awotoye Nelly is a highly accomplished corporate lawyer and executive leader with 25 years of diverse work experience across various sectors, including the oil and gas, telecommunications, venture capital, insurance, banking, specializing in the intersection between corporate governance and compliance and legal strategy. As a company secretary and legal of corporate and legal for Page International Finance Company Limited, she leverages 2 decades of high-stake regulatory experience to promote strong corporate governance and effective board functioning and organizational effectiveness. An expert in governance and compliance, Chinelo manages PIFCL's company secretarial function, driving full organizational adherence to regulatory frameworks, particularly the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Financial Reporting Council codes of corporate governance. As he serves as the primary legal and regulatory liaison, proactively maintaining relationship with all relevant authorities to mitigate risk and guarantee complete statutory compliance. Ms. Chidelu oversees corporate services management, which integrates strategic financial management, budgeting, and planning. Our success is demonstrated through the implementation of administrative strategy, efficient corporate services, budget management, and the application of effective cost optimization. She is responsible for evaluating and implementing human capital and employee relations policies, maximizing resources utilization through detailed administrative oversight. This extensive functional expertise is underpinned by a proven track record in executive support, advising C-suite leaders, and the board of directors. As a self-directed professional, she applies strong strategic and financial acumen with innovative initiative and recognized problem-solving skills to ensure excellent service delivery in fast-paced, deadline-driven environments. Chinelo is an excellent communicator and a committed team player, eager to make positive and valuable contributions. Beyond their professional pursuits, Chinelo enjoys cooking and motherhood. Nice to have you here, Chinelo.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you for having
So
me.
we're going to jump straight right to it.
Thank you.
Your profile is a very extensive one.
Thank you.
25 years cut across different sectors in the
Yes.
economy.
Yeah.
I want to ask, for you to have this 2 decade plus of experience, how did you navigate the career shift?
Well, my career shift started right from the beginning, right? But then that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be a lawyer all my life, wanted to go to the bench, to rise through the ranks. But I had a very pleasant experience. I call it pleasant because I don't want to use any other word. So while I was having my court attachment in Warri Court in those days, I recall this day my dad called me and said, "Why were you posted to that particular court?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. You just nominate the state where you want to go to, and then you are posted there." And he said, "And you made court leader?" I said, "Yes, I was made court leader." And he said to me, "Anyway, my divorce case with your mother is coming up in that court." And I'm like, "Wow, divorce? Nobody was aware of that. Nobody ever heard of that."
That's surprising.
It was a huge surprise. So we'll get to court that day. The matter was mentioned, and everybody was like, "Ah, fine man, what could have happened?" Nobody knew it was my dad. So the judge said, "Oh, the case was meant to be for judgment, but that judgment wasn't ready, so he was going to postpone that to the next sitting." And after the day sitting, I went to the judge and I said, "My lord, is it possible that the case will be happening and then one of the parties will not be aware?" He said, "No." "Is there anyone you're involved in?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Which?" I said, "Okay, and okay." He says, "What's the man to you?" I said, He's my dad." "And what's the woman to you?" "Is my mom." He said, "Really? And your mom is not aware?" I said, "This is the first time anybody's hearing about it." He says, "Okay, ask your mother to come to call the next sitting. I wouldn't give judgment." So let's adjourn date. The judge went on to give judgment against my mom. Like, wow. For a woman who wasn't even aware there was a divorce case. And I'm like, if me, the lawyer, would be so treated so unfairly, I mean, what would happen to whoever it is I'm either up against or for? And at that point, I changed my career path. Well, I don't want to be a judge anymore. I don't want to be a company secretary. Let's work at it. And here we are
Did
today.
you, for you to make that decision as to I want to be a company secretary, did you have anybody that was in that space? Or why did you come about? It's one thing to say, okay, I'm not going to the bench again. I
Yeah.
will just, like, why company secretary?
So, like I said, I always wanted to be a lawyer. So I already understood how both parts of legal services work. So it's either you're in litigation or you're in corporate practice. So I believe that in corporate practice, I had control over what the outcome of issues would be. And what was important to me was fairness, equity, and transparency. And I just went for that.
Oh, thank you very much. Now that your years of experience being in the corporate world, what are the critical skills that a lawyer needs to succeed being an in-house counsel?
I mean, I would say some of them are what I've mentioned: fairness, resilience is critical. I think resilience is even more important. You can't take away negotiation skills because I mean, even though you're working for an institution, you're not negotiating between your the parties in a matter. You are negotiating between yourself, your superiors, and the institution. And you know what's important for you in your role is to ensure the continuity of that institution. It's not about you. It's not about the leaders or management. It's about the institution and ensuring that through proper corporate governance, that institution continues as a going concern. I mean, that's what's critical, and that's what I've continued to maintain. So for me, two things: um, resilience, negotiation skills.
So, guys, now, if I want to go into the corporate world, I just need to be resilient and I
Yes,
need good negotiation skills, and I'll find myself succeeding in the
you
corporate
do
world.
well. I assure you.
Now, what practical advice you had for young lawyers considering a career in corporate company? We've kind of answered this by saying that
Yes,
for you to
sure.
be able to succeed as a young lawyer, you need to be resilient and you have good negotiation
It
skills.
just cuts across, honestly. I mean, I think a sense of direction is the first thing. You know what you want, right? Like I said, as a young child, I think it was, if I remember vividly, I tried to remember where we were the day my dad asked us that question. So what do you want to be when you grow up? So every Saturday he takes us out to the club, and then we're there that evening. There were three of us, and he asked, "So Chinelo, what do you want to be?" I am an only girl in between two boys, so I was a typical tomboy, right? So it was easy, and something I'm sure everybody felt, what else would you want to be to ensure that you stood out amongst the boys? You would want to be able to defend yourself properly. So yeah, and with that I felt this is what I have said I want to become. I have to know what I need, what it takes, and I have to. And I think another thing that has worked for me is that failure is proper, just complete zero tolerance of failure. So for everything I set out to do, whatever I've made up my mind to do, I must win. And yeah, I know that there, you come out today and they say, oh, I mean, how do you cope? It's a man's world. I've never believed it's a man's world. And then even if it's a man's word, there's a man in the name of a woman, right? So it means it's your word as well. Go
Yes,
grab it.
go grab
Take
it.
it, take your possession. That's what
Okay,
it is.
so the advice for we young lawyers,
Sense of direction, remain resilient, focused. Sky is your starting point.
now I'm sure that there are things that have happened along the way to being where you are now at the corporate world. Can you share some of the things you did, to get your
Yeah,
courses, mentors,
yeah.
the help you had climbing through this ladder?
Well, I mean, if you want me to be very honest, my main help is just God. I mean, people might not believe it. Everybody would want to say, "Oh, yeah, we all come on air and we say it's God." I mean, for me, it's total dependency. Some people say to you, "How can you be talking about God all the time? You're a pretty woman. You should think about no." That's what it has been. And I think with that I've had the good guidance. So you have time to think thoroughly. You know what you want. Always be on the right side of the law. Be fair to everyone. Ask ask the Holy Spirit for direction. You always get it. Trust me. There's that one spirit that speaks to you. If you listen and if you ask the right questions, you always get that direction. So another thing I've done was that for every sector I worked and for every responsibility or every role I was saddled with, I went on to develop myself. So I recall when I started doing compliance, managing compliance at a point, the most important thing for me at the time was to delve into all the statutes that affected the institution where I worked. Then I was working in insurance, and NICOM laws, company and Island Matter Act. I would digest it and ensure that I knew what it was. I would do a schedule of all the remittances and all the reporting
Laws.
that I needed to do. I moved on from there. I was made to manage HR. Went straight on to do an MBA because it was important that I understood what human capital management was all about. It wasn't just taking it. Wasn't just because you're a lawyer, so you can just read up the labor law. It's managing people we're talking about, and you need to understand what that entails. I went on to have a degree in human capital management specialization. I also recall at some point I was meant to manage risk management. I went back to Unilag and I got the certification in risk management. So for me, apart from having the focus, you also know you need the intellect. So the sense of direction, the intellect, and then charting the proper course for yourself. It helps you to carve that niche. And trust me, I know I was at an interview once for a role, and then the interviewer said to me, "You do all these things?" And I said, "Yes, that's currently what I manage." And he said, "So, how is the institution going to manage when you leave? Because I'm going to grab you." And he says, and he goes on to answer his question and say, "Well, I don't care whether I take you, they'll find out, they'll manage themselves." And trust me, after I left that institution, I recall my successor would call me, "How did you do all these things alone?" I think it's just knowing what you want and ensuring that you succeed. So you are given a role, you don't say I cannot do it. Of course, that doesn't exist. You hit it and you get it done.
So what I can get from this is, and from your experience, is that you are definitely a hard worker,
And I'm a go getter.
and
And that's why I said resilience is key. There's really no room for I cannot do it. It is not my job. That phrase doesn't exist anyway, trust me.
go get it, and you would achieve it.
Yes.
I know at some point you mentioned it's not a man's world
No.
anymore. So I don't know if I should bother you with this question as to how have you navigated gender dynamics and being in the corporate world.
Yeah, I mean, just like what I said earlier, truly, really, if they say it's a man's world, when you're spelling woman, what are the three last letters?
MEN.
It's man. So
You can
whatever
say it's
a
a
man
woman's
can,
world since man is inside woman.
yeah. So whatever a man can do, trust me, a woman can do it better. And if you look at what has happened in a lot of the sectors, especially the financial sector, before now you would only have men CEOs.
Yes.
There's so many women CEOs who are doing great job
Great.
out there, better than what the men did. I mean, I can count them on the tip of our fingers.
I think
Yeah.
at this point I would say kudos to Wimbiz,
Thank you, Wendy.
for pushing for women to continue to get better, encouraging women that they are beyond what they've captured them or boxed them to do. And this is why we're having conversations like this, to encourage the younger generation to know that you can do it, having proper advice and proper guidance, and which you must not forget in today's episode. Know that if you want to achieve your goal, you must be resilient and you must be an hard worker.
Critical.
So we're wrapping up very soon, and just give us one advice that for our viewers to know that yes, you can make it. And in this episode of the legal her story, what should our viewers take home?
I think the number one thing for you to take home is that if you can think it, you can achieve it.
That's very short. If you can think it, you can achieve it. You had mentioned that if you can think it, you can make it. What I also want to ask, what advice do you have for young lawyers?
I think I would stem from there as well. I'm sure you had a reason why you decided to become a lawyer. Whatever that reason is, whatever that dream is, pursue it. Don't give up. Don't listen to anybody. Follow your heart. I mean, when the phrase, when you hear the phrase that says follow your heart, I mean follow your heart. Um, there's no place like the top. If you know you want to get there, go work towards it. Aspire. If you need to do, I mean, it doesn't stop at being a law graduate. You can further your education. Um, I know a lot of people who have managed both the legal world, the academic world, and they have succeeded. Whatever you dream, trust me, you can achieve it. You're a go getter. Go get it.
And yes, we're going to get it. Thank you once again, Mrs.
Chinelo.
Chinelo. Your advice to us, I for one would hold it there. If I can think it, I can make
You
it.
can make
I'm
it,
a
and
go
you can
getter,
achieve it.
and I'm going to achieve it.
Sure
Thank
thing.
you so much
Pleasure.
for coming on this episode of the Wimbiz podcast, and we hope that our viewers enjoy this episode and learn one or two things. As you said, if you can think it, you can make it.
You can achieve
And
it.
we hope to see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Stay tuned.